welcome to Lead Live, reminding you of your personal genius and how you think in order to actualize what you desire. Well, hello, everyone. Greetings. Welcome to Lead Live. We are so appreciative of your showing up. My name is Dr. Elnora Tena Webb, birth name Mitchell, baby girl Mitchell. For those of you out there who are family, it's an honor to be with you on a weekly basis here and to share with you matters around the topic of leadership. Really, leadership mindset and leadership excellence. LEAD stands for Leadership Excellence and Achievement on Demand, and we really mean that. And so we have guests like the guest today who remind us or share with us information for the first time that helps us understand that we actually can be the CEOs of our own lives. Today, I'm very honored to have a remarkable woman, very humble. To say she's likable is an understatement. When you look at her face, you can't help but smile. And her husband is the same way. And I got a chance to see one of her children, actually both of her children, and just a beautiful family. And that's part of what we love to do, is expose you to people like you, beautiful people from all over the planet who are about the business of leading by example, showing up, showing out, producing in a way that actually adds value, not only to their own lives, their families' lives, the lives of others. And so we have Yolanda Spearman here today. This woman reminds us that too many of us on this planet live with regrets, and there's no need. In fact, we have so many articles that we've read that we have we have access to that reflect research indicating that upwards of 90% of the people who are working, whether they're in a leadership role formally or whether they're in a support role, they're living with regrets. They're not living their purpose. She also reminds us of the obvious. We can stop that. So we certainly weren't born with regrets. And yet, the moment that we don't allow ourselves to function in a way that edifies our greatest selves, which is this healthy, remarkable human being, then we begin the path of actually leading our lives with regrets. So I want to expose you to this woman who reminds us to do what makes us happy, find our focus, follow up on our goals and our aspirations so we could experience the life that we actually envision. We have to envision it first, go there. Who is this woman? Yolanda Spearman. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a bio on her, and then she's going to share much more. She's more fascinating than just this bio, but this will give you a sense of her. She's a mother of two, proud mother of two. She's is very proud to be a wife. She loves being a woman. She absolutely adores being a Black woman. And she knows that those things are aspects of who she is, not the complete total, sum total, because she's also a daughter. She's a sister. She's a friend. She's a cousin. She's much, much more than that. She's, more importantly, she's a child that understands that the great spirit that God has given her all capacity to do whatever she wants to do, including exceed her own high expectations. She's lived a life that's inspired, and she believes that everyone should live a life that's magical. She's been a senior finance and insurance consultant, dealer operations manager, regional business development manager, district sales manager, marketing manager. This woman has an MBA. She has her Bachelor's of Science in International Business. She has certificates in leadership, finance. I can go on and on. She volunteers. She cares about children, part of children ministry, and also has a legacy of being a sign language interpreter. Quite interesting. And beyond that, she has an inherent passion that really is embedded in who she is for helping people and helping organizations. And as a result, she's worked over 20 years in the business consulting arena, helping the auto industry as well as power sports. I love that. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to just highlight a couple of things that she does. Among them, she's an author, and you got to read her book, Relentless Execution. And we're going to make reference to this early throughout this broadcast. This is a very simple, easy, accessible, fun book to read. It's a storytelling way to remind us of our ability to achieve, but we have to be relentless in the pursuit of achieving. She also is a voice-over artist. In fact, it's wonderful to go to her website and listen to some of the work that she's done. And she's worked for a number of different organizations. And I'm just going to highlight a few here. Wayfair, Amazon, MetLife, Chase. She's been across the country, including in Northern California, where I'm at, assisting a local community with their efforts in San Mateo County. So this woman has a lot that she's done. Why is she doing this? Because from her perspective, it's about making a powerful, positive difference. She's still aiding businesses. She's still aiding individuals. She's still providing public speaking engagements. And also, she's a corporate trainer. So without further ado, I think I can go on and on and on and talk about this woman who lives what it means to be, to show Black girl magic. I'm going to bring her into the studio and say, hello, beautiful Yolanda.
Hello, hello, hello. Gosh, what an introduction. I was like, who's that lady?
Yeah. I'm trying to embarrass you. I don't think I can. I hope I can't. But I definitely want to really reflect the essence of who you are, which is this authentic, open, generous spirit.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction. I totally appreciate that. And I'm so honored that you would ask me to be here today to share with you and to share some insights. I am so excited to engage with your audience and to engage with you today.
It's a pleasure. Now, you and your husband are based in Michigan right now, correct?
With yes, we live just outside of the wonderful Detroit, Michigan, that is experiencing a fabulous renaissance. So if you ever want to come and visit a city on the up and coming, come to Detroit.
I look forward to doing that too. So, and look forward to meeting you and your husband and children in person. And so when I mention your family, it's really important for people to honor that as we're leading, it's not just ourselves. It's about our families, our loved ones. And it sounds like you've got an echo in the back. So I don't know if you've got your phone on or something. If a phone is on, then there's going to be an echo. But I just want to make that note.
Well, I will make sure that does not happen. I do have a phone in the area, and I'll make sure it's off.
Thank you so much. So tell us something that we would not find on social media about you. We wouldn't even find on your website about you. Something that is unique, that would really open the door to the rest of us understanding the essence of who you are.
You probably wouldn't find out a lot about my family in depth. So you probably wouldn't know that I come from a family of 4 and that we are really a blue collar family, lived in urban Detroit, and we grew up so close knit. It is like a movie. It's kind of like the Cosby Show. It was a really, really close knit family. We do everything together. We have family dinners. We have family meetings. We do so much intricately involved. I learned to cook for my family. I learned to do, the gamut, how to garden. Everything you learn that is major in life, we do it kind of as a unit.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And when you say 4, I thought you had, how many siblings do you have?
I have 3 siblings. So there's 3 siblings and I'm the oldest. So I'm the oldest sibling. They probably call me the mama. If they're watching now, they're probably like, yeah, she's the bossy one.
So you mean a family of 6, 4 siblings. Okay. All righty. I thought you had a number of siblings. Okay. Yes. Wonderful. And so why, there's a few questions of folks who are viewing that I have for Yolanda, and she knows some of those questions. But before we go there, how is it that you got into this whole realm of voiceover, where you're supporting Johnson & Johnson, you're supporting Liberty Mutual, Amazon, AT&T, Wayfair, Salesforce. What led you into this industry?
I am so happy you asked that question because that is the birth of my book, Relentless Execution. And it all came about because I got caught up in corporate America, just like a lot of us in our daily jobs, and we kind of get on that hamster wheel. And it's get up in the morning, get ready for work. Then you go, come back home, cook dinner, go to bed, start, repeat, repeat, repeat. And sometimes we lose the essence of who we are in the routine and the monotony of our everyday. And I was one of those people who lost some of that. Believe it or not, I didn't have the verve and the zeal that I have now because I felt a little diminished. I didn't feel like I was able, because of course you're in the confines of something else under working towards someone else's vision. So when you are able to take a moment to sit back, really reflect and introspect on the talents and gifts that the Creator has given to you and that God has given to you and placed inside of you, you start to say, dang, I'm not using everything to the best of my ability. So a long time ago, a lady who worked on a radio station, her name is Mildred Gaddis. I will forever honor her for this. She's kind of like the queen bee of radio here in Detroit, Michigan. She has been around forever. She tapped me on the shoulder while I was working at the front desk of the Omni Hotel in downtown Detroit about 25 years ago. That tells you how old I am. And she said, Yolanda, I love your voice, your energy, and the way it comes through. You should research voiceover. Your voice will be perfect for that. Now, she planted that seed all that time ago. So one man plants, another man waters, but what God gives the increase, that is a true statement because she planted that seed all those years ago. And I made a demo reel. I went out and I really pursued it, but it didn't go anywhere. So I forgot about it. Well, my wonderful husband dusted it on off. He found it in a box. He puts the demo reel in the car. And he was like, oh my goodness, this is your talent. You should do it. And I was just like, but I listened. And I was like, well, maybe I should try it. Now I'm on this hamster wheel. And I'm still on this hamster wheel. So now you got to make time while you're in the hamster wheel, right? So it's going, going, going. So I said, okay, I'm going to make the time. I'm going to create a profile. I'm going to just do a couple auditions. I started getting calls. People were like, you brought so much life. You brought so much witness. You brought so much authenticity. Can you do it for me? And then somebody else said, can you do it for me? Somebody else said, can you do it for me? So I would run upstairs. Honey, I got another one. Honey, somebody else called.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So
I love it.
That's how I got that. And that's how I found that.
That is so interesting. The book titled, and I'm going to jump ahead to this before I go to the questions, titled Relentless Execution, had the subtitle or subheading of Discover What Makes You Happy and Do It. Live a life without regrets. Why? Why?
Yes, yes. So many people live our lives and we're always wishing, hoping. We see other people doing these things and we say, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe it couldn't be me. I am too busy. Oh my goodness, how in the world can this possibly fit in my life? I got A, B, C, D, all the way down to G. How in the world am I going to add something else in here? We find ways to convince ourselves of what we can't do, but we don't spend just as much energy convincing ourselves of all of the possibilities and the things we can do. And I'm talking to myself because I was that person with voiceover until my husband was like, you can do this. And I digested it. And when I finally did, doors began to open. And that's what I want for everybody.
Well, you've conveyed several powerful aspects of ensuring that message. One, the importance of having the right partner. Whoever he may be in your life, she may be in your life, wherever you're at on your journey. And that whatever that perfect partner is will vary as for each one of us. But having the individual who's going to see you in your capacity and usher you, support you, facilitate you, Be there to say, do it, step on that limb. And that's your husband. That's remarkable. The other
Yes.
thing is you said you actually took the risk. You did it. You went from having it pen to paper, which is critical, getting it out of the ideal phase and putting it in writing. And then your husband said, "Listen, this is who you are." And you did it, and all of a sudden the universe validated you. And you did it again, the universe validated you. You once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make things happen. We
Yes.
know that. Even if the decision is a decision that you don't want, when you focus on something, the universe gives us what we focus on. We want to focus on the right thing, right?
Definitely, 100%. And that to me is what leaders do. And that's how leaders are birthed and how they arise
Mhm.
and how they come to fruition because they rise up out of their points of
Mhm.
passion. And it has to be
Mhm.
passionate. You got to be passionate about it. But not only that, you're so passionate, you inspire other people and you
Wow.
motivate other people to do something.
Wow.
It's to act,
Mhm.
which is why I say
Mhm.
I wrote the book because I wanted to inspire somebody else on their joy journey to
Mhm.
make them feel the way I feel so
Mhm.
complete. I feel so
Mhm.
happy and joyful that, I mean, heck, if you found the cure
Mhm.
to cancer, you want to cure the world, right? So I felt like I found my
Mhm.
joy, I found my talent.
Mhm.
And so now
Mhm.
that is what makes leaders come up
Mhm.
in different areas. Because when you find that, you say, and then you begin to inspire, you begin to motivate, you
Mhm.
begin to
Mhm.
actually help people to excel and to
Mhm.
act.
Mhm. Wow. I want to acknowledge a number of folks. Pam Perry says you're amazing. And she goes on and just references Go Folks Branding Accelerator. And then Tomoko says, I love her energy. And relentless execution, folks, the book. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And Marlena Henderson, I feel so inspired by this. Thank you for sharing. And of course, we're reminding people to lead by example, follow that passion. And Olive, thank you. So on point, she writes. And I'm sure we'll get more comments in here. So let me get to the first question. So, how do you define leadership?
So I define leadership specifically as being that individual who inspires, who motivates a person to act toward a specific goal. And that's key because we can say we are a leader all day, but if we are not inspiring someone else, if we're not motivating someone else and helping them to move forward, and that is really crucial because if you're not moving forward, you think you're standing still, but actually everybody else is moving forward. So guess what happens? They're here and you're back here. So you're actually going backwards. So the key is, as a leader, they are an individual who is inspiring, who is not selfish, because I really want to make sure I say that too. Because what leaders do is they conspire to help other people do fantastic, and they want to see you succeed. If you're a leader and you don't have that integrity, you don't have that energy to help other people, then you got to work on it. Hey, it's simple as a fix. All you got to do is make a commitment and change, and then you can do it. So that is what I believe leaders are. They conspire to help people achieve their goals and to be inspired to do their absolute best.
Mm, mm. So, you mentioned the importance of inspiring,
Mhm,
the importance of goals,
mhm.
the importance of integrity, and the importance of continuous engagement. If you not where you want to be, you figure it out. You take the time to grow in order to be or to manifest what it is that you want to be or manifest, right? So, why is leadership, and more specifically, how to move forward in your space of leadership, important to you?
You know, when you asked me that question, I really took a moment to think about why. And the reason it's so important is because if we look at all of our lives, we are each influencers in our own space.
Mhm.
And we all evoke change. We all are impactful. If we do not accept our assignment. And I said accept intentionally, because sometimes we see it and we know it and we understand it's there, but we won't receive it and digest it and go forward in the thing that we should move forward in. But when we do, and I write about that in my book, when we do, we touch lives all around us. It's not just, so sometimes we think you have to stand in front of a big audience in order to touch a life. I remember I was out with my husband at dinner. He would get so mad at me because he would be like, can we have one dinner where there are not 10 people, where the wonderful waitress is not sitting down at the table crying in the telling us life story, or somebody else is not coming over here. And I was just like, well, I'm so excited. So people probably wonder, is she always this excited? My poor husband. He's like, yes, I am. But I want people to have joy. And so I asked the young lady one time, I said, how are you doing? You look like you've been going through something. And she just started to talk. And you know what she said at the end of the conversation, which is my point? She said, you're the only person that I met all day who cared. And the reason I was able to be this person is because I was able to plug in to the thing that gave me that energy. And I thank God every day for allowing me to discover me. Because as I do, even you're passing by, when you're saying hello, when you're greeting a guy at the coffee shop, that person looks for you. I remember I went to place Tim Hortons here locally around the corner. I didn't go for some months because I was trying to lose some weight. And the guy said to me, he said, I miss you. You haven't been in our line in a long time. Where have you been? And I was like, and my kids are in the back seat. Why does he miss you? And I was like, I don't know, but it wasn't because of, he said it later on. He said, you always come with such a positive energy. You make my staff feel happy when they see you coming. They always want to give you a donut. I mean, I was just like, that, right? That's why I had to stop coming. They kept giving me stuff.
Oh, joy, 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 joy. We define wealth as faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. And embedded in all of that should be joy.
Yes.
We tend to think of joy as compartmentalized or happiness compartmentalized. And you're really illuminating when one is living their passion. Joy is a byproduct. It just happens. And you share that joy just in a way where it's felt ubiquitously. People need you present because they want that. Can you imagine all of us living our passion and then shifting things on a dime because of that passion that we're living, that authenticity, that honesty we're living? We're joyful. And people are not looking just for you. They're experiencing it with everybody that comes around. Wow. The shift that would occur.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And I really think that more people can experience that if they're willing to experience it. I feel like when you're willing to make a decision, I have a very dear friend who made a decision to go on a joy journey, which is where I got where I coined that term from. And I admired the fact that she said she was going to spend a year on her joy journey. And I felt like, wow, the way you said it was so complete, because sometimes we need to take a moment to sit back and not just to go back to the beginning, but to reconnect with who we are. Kids got it. Kids have it right. When you look at them, they are authentic all the time. Sometimes too much, right? But
when we allow them to be, because sometimes, yes, we've got to honor their spirits.
Yes, we have to honor, and that spirit still lives in us, and it's still in us. We just got caught up on that hamster wheel. And I wrote in the book about how my daughter found a journal, which was what led me to act, because the whole key is to act.
Tell that story. Yes, because I love her meaning, the name of her name, the meaning of her name rather, Zoe. Tell
Yes.
folks the meaning of that. When I read that in your book, I was like, oh, how awesome.
Yes, that was a life-changing moment for me.
Mm.
And her name means the life of God. And the reason why it's such a significant name is because how I got that name. I had a dream. And so of course, I talk about my husband a lot because he's always a witness to my crazy. But I woke up in the night and I was like, right after we got married, 6 months after we got married, I said, we're going to have a little girl and her name is going to be Zoe. And he was like, where did you get that from? I was like, I don't know. It just popped in my brain. I said, I think God is sending me a message. And he was just like, okay, tell me about it tomorrow. So, and then 5 years, people ask me all the time, is that true? It is so true. I wrote it down. And I always believe that you write things down because writing makes it real and it helps you to reflect on where you've come from and what you've achieved and how close you are to the goals that you've had. And you forgot that you wrote those things down. But in that story, at the end of it all, it took 5 years. It took a ton of infertility treatments and a ton of doctor visits and being on bed rest for almost 4 months. But after all of that, and I did not find out the sex of the baby. So I had the doctor tell my sisters, and I made them promise that they would not tell me because I wanted my faith to remain intact. And I had faith that it was going to be a little girl and her name was going to be Zoe. And when we finally had the reveal and they told me like a couple weeks before she came because I was on bed rest and they were concerned about an early birth. They said, well, we want to let you know you can welcome Zoe to the world. And I was just like, yes! But it was a 5-year wait. And that's the other thing. Leaders keep inspiring and we keep going and we keep pushing because of our passion. But we also understand that in order to get to the goal, it may take a journey, but the journey is worth the wait. When you're going to get there. You're going to get to the top and you're going to get to that place that you want along with a whole bunch of other people. If you reach back and pull them along and you keep inspiring, you keep on reaching back and pulling those people along, that is really that one story, I would say, was an anchor in my life that caused me to become a different person.
Well, what's so beautiful and elegant and instructive about your book is that you have basic principles throughout it. And the one that I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was around where you use the story of your daughter coming to life, literally the gift being given to you and your husband and the rest of us who get to experience her. It was around understanding your inspiration must be bigger than you, right?
Yes, it was. And that is the key because sometimes we don't have that thing inside of us. So for me, it was my dream. So I had that dream. So when I had that dream, that vision, it gave me something to hold on to. And I always went back to that. And even when I forgot, I had a group of people around me. That's why I talked about my family, because they are so important and crucial. My sister bought a little teeny weeny onesie and she hung it up in the hospital room. So she was like, don't forget your faith. Remember your dream. Don't forget that dream. That dream can come to fruition. I had friends tell me from all over the country, Yolanda, this is going to happen for you. This is happening for you. So when I lost my vision, they helped me to continue to move forward. So it's really important to surround yourself with the people who value you and they remind you of your value and of your purpose and your goals. But that specifically having something to aspire toward. So your inspiration has to be bigger than you. And when it is, you will, I mean, even me being on a commercial, I'm on a Wayfair commercial, national ad, right? I have a national ad campaign for Wayfair. And I had a friend call me from Connecticut and she was like, hey, did I just hear you in Connecticut? I had a girlfriend call me from California. I hear you in my living room. Why do I hear you in my living room? Those
It's actually, oops, I'm sorry.
You okay?
Yes. Yeah, I'm fine. I just had something here that I inadvertently hit. Yeah, we don't want to take away from the genius of what you're sharing. Now,
Oh, that's okay.
Can one remain a leader? And I think you've already touched on this, but can one remain a leader with no achievements, no progress, no personal growth? So someone's in a leadership role and they have no achievements, no progress, no personal growth. Someone's in a leadership role in their home, in their community. Are they still a leader if they have no personal growth, if they're not progressing, if they're not achieving something?
I think that no matter what, leaders are achievers. Leaders achieve, leaders act, leaders do, leaders grow, they progress. And not only that, they are really focused on development. So I read all the time. I always have books around me. I read my book right now. I was reading Make Your Bed. I mean, all around me, there's always reading material. I'm always studying. I'm always
I like that, make your bed, because it's more than just about a bed, right?
definitely.
Illuminate that, because most people can say, make your bed. Get to the
Oh,
point.
this book right here is fantastic. This book is about small habits, little things that you can do that can help you to what? Achieve more, to achieve your dreams, to achieve your goals, to ascend to the next level as a leader. It
And
is
who are we as human beings? We're our habits, right? You can
yes.
describe us in all kinds of ways, medically, psychologically, etc., socially. We are our habits, and those habits are imprinted. They're embedded in our subconscious. And what drives our behavior is what's happening at the subconscious level, not what's happening at the conscious level, not our intellectual mind, not what we think. It's what we feel, our emotions. So when we understand that, we have to literally use our intellectual capacity, our mental faculties to shift what's happening at the subconscious level. So we shift our behavior, our actual habits, we shift the results. But we've got to literally, in a systematic way, do that. And so tools like that book and listening to you and listening to others, and actually engaging in new habits for a significant period of time without wavering, all of a sudden we shift the nature of who we are and what we're doing, right?
Yes, and you know what? You bring up another point brings something to my mind. I was reading the book Failing Forward by John
Mm,
Maxwell. And in
ah,
the book Failing Forward, he talks about a definition of what to learn is. And to learn in the book, he talks about it being when you learn something, you change your behavior. And to me, that it was key because when you learn, we make mistakes. So when we make a mistake, we are supposed to learn from the mistake. But that means we will change our behavior so we don't make the same mistake again. So for me, understanding that and understanding what learning is, it allows us to go out there and try stuff. Heck, I tried a voiceover. I mean, you can, if you felt like you wanted to go sing in front of a group of people or write a poem, do it. You might find out you
or you
can't sing.
want to take on that next leadership role in an organization you're working for, just go for it. You know, and I'm reminded of a dear loved one who transitioned out of this life this year. Brian Monroe. I have to speak his name. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful family member. His children are doing awesome. He left a legacy with even his fiance. She's awesome, and on and on. But his father said to him, and he told me, I was thinking about something. He said, this is what my dad said, and I love his dad. 4-star general, uh, 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 Monroe, we call him. He said, listen, Brian, take that next step. You don't literally need, if the next step includes things already know how to do. In other words, you know the job, you know how to do the job. That's not the job for you. You want to go to that next
Mm,
level. And if that next level, at least, a significant amount of that job, that's not the job for you. You want to go for a job that you've never experienced before. You don't even know how to do everything. That's the role that you want. So whether you're in an organization of your own creation or someone else's creation, and you are thinking about a leap, go for it. Make
yes.
certain that it is synergistic with your passion and not just doing it because everybody says it's the right thing to do. It's got to be right for you. And remember, when
Oh,
you unleash the passion, what happens, Yolanda?
when you unleash the passion, there is nothing that's impossible. And for an organization specifically, when you unleash that passion and you're in an organization, as I am in an organization, when you have that, you're able to be more present. And that
Mm,
means a lot. So what does it mean to be more present? It means that you're able to engage with the people that you work with on another level. And when you're talking to them, when I talk to business owners, I'm talking to them about their business, but I'm getting in their business. And I want to make sure that it succeeds. I had a guy tell the group that I was with, he said, I never had people come who really cared about my results and not just the corporation's results. He said, forgive me because I'm having a hard time just listening because are you real? Do you all really care about me and my goals? See, when you find your passion, you figure out what you like to, what you love to do, and what you're really passionate about. It doesn't have to necessarily be that corporate America thing. It could be something else on the outside, but that energy translates and it comes with you. It doesn't just fall off. It's connected. It's a part of you. All those things make up who you are. And then when you get in there, you can motivate, you can inspire, you can change, you can make numbers more than anybody ever thought. People will be scratching their heads saying, how did they make that number? How did they do that? How did they achieve that goal? Whoa, we didn't even know that was possible. You'll be saying, I didn't either. And it just came out, but you can do it. And, I'm sorry, I could go on and on because I'm
no,
very
please
passionate.
do not be sorry. There are a number of quotes you have in your book that I just love. And I wanted to just read them all. No, folks, read the book. It's a quick read. I think it's 100 pages, or approximately. You can get in and get out, and yet the depth, the substance is powerful. It's storytelling, what we as humans love, and it's reducing it or elevating it up to principles which we value, the core of who we are. And there's all these different quotes. One by Maya Angelou, at the beginning, it says, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Okay, we only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. But when we do know, when we learn what we don't know, and if it's applicable to our growth and our development, leverage it.
Mhm.
Robert Frost, you have. I took the road less traveled and it made all the difference. That's what Yolanda is demonstrating. She didn't know anything about voiceover. She wrote it down because someone was inspired by her presence. Luckily, her husband, who knows her, who honors her, who loves her. And it's not just a fleeting passion, it's a deep commitment. Said, go for it. Sis, go for it. Wife, go for it. Partner, go for it, my love. She did it. Guess what? It made all the difference. She didn't know anyone else who was doing voiceover, and now she's doing it nationally.
Mhm.
So here's something that you convey in the book that I'd like to also reveal. The energy we need to make our dreams come true comes from a well deep within. I firmly believe that, Yolanda. Passion drives our inner power. Sometimes we don't understand what we are pursuing until we take a step back and actually look at what we call our dreams. That type of reflection is an integral part of our journey. You want to add anything to that? Not that you need to, because they're your words.
Well, I really think that we all have talents. We all have talents, we have skills, they are within us. And often I don't think we honor them. So I think that we live in, I actually just wrote an article. I wrote a blog post and it was called Don't Get Caught Up in a Bunch of Should. Because people tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, who you should be, where you should go, how you should be. And this career should fit your personality. I want people to honor the gifts that are in them because they're going to pop out. And sometimes you end up trying to pigeonhole yourself into something, and it's not you. And then you are, how in the world did I get stuck on this hamster wheel? How can I get off of this one and get onto that one over there? But if you are able to honor the passion, and actually, I want to say this to anybody out there, it's not too late to get off this hamster wheel and get on this one. You have the power to change. You can change it my family members did it. That's why I highlight them even in my book. I had a
Mhm.
sister who was an engineer. She was an electrical or constructional engineer, and now she's a math teacher. And she has a master's degree. She was a project manager. She now is managing projects in the classroom. She is a leader. And I asked her the other day, I said, do you want to be a principal or something else? She was like, I found my thing. I'm happy.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, okay.
That's success.
That's success.
Yeah. There's a gentleman that you pay tribute to. And one of the stories is from George de la Nuez,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was instrumental in answering a question, a call, a need that you had in support of your husband, and then ensuring your husband got what he needed. He writes this. He says, Yolanda, I want people to know that focus is one crucial key to success. You also need passion. I don't apologize for my enthusiasm because it kept me going when times got tough.
Mm-hmm.
One more point that I feel needs to be said. You need to love what you do. If you don't love what you're doing, then quit now and stop making other people miserable, says George. Now, this gentleman had a vision and he actualized that vision. Initially, he didn't have a clue how he'd get there. He became the owner of a Wolverine Harley Davidson, right? He
Yes.
just he just allowed life to do its work while he was very focused because he was identified with excellence. And so it was easy for people to see him and say, let's pave the way for him to do what he wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, definitely. And he has always said that. And the one thing I would say is the characteristics of a leader. They always try to help other people and try to bring other
Yes.
people up. And when you do that, people notice. And when you're excellent at what you do and relentless at what you do,
Mhm.
people notice. It does not go unnoticed, even though I know sometimes when I worked in corporate America, I felt like I'm working hard. I'm driving 1,000 miles a week. I'm working really hard. Does anybody care? Does anybody know? Does anybody see the sacrifice that I'm making? And I would say to you, the universe sees, God sees. It is out there. You are planting seeds.
Mhm.
So trust
You
me,
got
if
it.
you plant good seeds, you're gonna yield a good crop.
And George also says, never forget where you began.
Mm.
And that's the essence of your story too. And there's another one. I won't tell all the stories. I want people to read this book. And I think her name is Amy. Uh,
Yes.
and part of her story, although this quote's not directly related to that, it says people don't decide their future; they decide their habits, and their habits determine their future. Word. Remember that, folks. Uh, Here's something that Amy, I think it's the car, right? Vice
Vanderkar,
President,
yes.
yeah, Vice President Henry Ford Health Systems. She said to you after you and your husband were like, who's this woman coming over to say hello? I love that. You got to read it, book, folks. Sometimes you have to pick up poop, wash your hands, and keep moving. So that's one of the principles. Sometimes you just have to pick up poop. Can you describe that and the importance of that? I just love that because it's real. It's real when you're in a leadership role, where whatever type of leadership role, go for it.
I agree 100%. And it's so funny because she and I laugh about that all the time because the truth is everything is not roses. As you go forward, as you move forward, especially if you're moving forward in a career, if you're moving forward in a business, I mean, anybody out there, Elnora, you can tell everyone about how challenging it can be when you're pursuing a dream and you really in its infancy. It's just like a baby. Babies take a lot of work. Sometimes you never sleep. You feel like sleep is a foreign word to you. But the truth is, sometimes you just gotta keep going even when it's not easy. And you have to do the hard parts. So here's the real story. I do voiceover. So I love the actual action of reading the script and bringing life to words.
Mm.
However, that's only one piece. That's not the contracts I have to sign. That's not the conversations I have to have. That's not the meetings. That's not there's a whole bunch of other stuff on this side that goes along with doing the voiceover. Just like in my regular job. When I go to my regular job, that means I got to do this morning. I had to get up earlier. I had to get up early because I wanted to send some reports out. I wanted to have some meetings. I wanted to talk to some people. I had some things I wanted to accomplish. I had to get up early. Y'all, that's a big thing because I like my sleep. I ain't want to get up early. So I mean, sometimes you have to pick up poop. You just wash your hands and you just keep on going. That's really what I want to say about that.
Well, and even before you shared that, you shared Teddy Roosevelt's or Theodore Roosevelt's statement of courage is not having the strength to go on. It's going on when you don't have the strength, right? You gave that example. I'm thinking about one of my, well, actually, several of my nieces and nephews who have children. And my goodness, the younger they are, seemingly the more challenging. And the more they have, oh my goodness, it's amazing. I'm so proud of them, but I know they're exhausted and I understand their concerns. Yet they show up and they work to show out in order to raise these children into these remarkable young people who can go and do the same thing and replicate in a way that actually adds more value to life itself. So think of that, folks, in terms of our roles, our other roles, formal, professional roles.
Yes, definitely. I really think that sometimes we even put the word leadership in a box. And I think that we have to work on removing boundaries about what leaders are, where they can appear, and who they can be. You know, there was a janitor at one of the dealerships that I often would go to. And I asked the people who won't retire. He has been working forever. He doesn't need this. And they were like, oh, he's the leader of the group. He keeps us all together. So it's not about people think that it's because you're in charge of this and that and this and that. It's not that. It's your influence. It's your ability to inspire, to motivate, to change, to leave an indelible impact on someone else. When I walked in the door at the store, he greeted me and knew I was there. Now, he might have been sweeping the floor as he walked on past. He'd be like, I saw your car pull in the driveway. I knew you was coming to see. I knew you was coming. You got business. Let me go let them know you here. He owned his position. And he didn't just own it. He led from the position he owned. And it didn't matter that he was the janitor.
Yeah, well, let me just say, having been in various leadership roles, it's incredible the amount of information, guidance, and leadership support I receive from folks who are not in formal leadership roles. And I was sufficiently humbled and supported with my teams of folks that I help hire or that were already in those organizations to leverage those individuals to elevate them. Even as they were happy about their roles or they wanted more, whatever it was, to recognize that everyone, independent of title, is a leader, is the essence of what we're sharing, folks. All of us are leaders in our own lives, and we get to influence to the degree that we want. And there's so much research on influencers. In fact, I was gifted a book because someone knows I love books. I think a lot of people do. This is just a small sample of my books. And the book was titled Influencer. And looking at corporate leaders, looking at informal leaders who are not in the corporate executive roles, who are literally shaping the nature of where organizations go. And when we understand that, then we understand it doesn't really matter who's the CEO sometimes, or who's the vice president, or who's the provost, or who you fill in the blank, the executive director, the director. If you've got the right people at all the right levels, that organization will run. And when you have an effective leader, you don't even have to be present physically. And in fact, you shouldn't have to be present 100% if you're an effective leader, because the rest of the team are leading from their respective spaces, right?
Yes, definitely. Go
I
ahead.
want
I'm
to
sorry.
honor some of the comments. Olive writes, reconnect with who you are. So true. Great reminder. We always forget that. And Franz writes, writing things down makes it real. Need to write down our dreams and goals to materialize them. You're on it. Letitia, yes, to statements I'm sure you were making. And Pam writes, having a coach is important too. Letitia says, leadership progress. Our leaders progress. They
Mhm.
progress. They progress.
Mhm.
Emphasis added. If you're in a role and you've not achieved anything, you're not learning anything, you're not progressing, got a question. First of all, are you in the right role? Secondly,
Mm.
are you really a leader? Okay. Pastor Dexter Jenkins, thanks for being here. Leaders who are not growing are parked leaders. Well, that's another interesting word, as kids would say, or young people would say. Parked. They're parked, and
They're
hopefully
part.
not for long, because literally those old parking lots are going out of business, if you will. They're becoming obsolete. So we don't want to be parked in any instance. And then by Danielle Hughes, I'm not certain she's referring. Pam is referring to something. So if you can convey that what you're referring to, Pam, that would be great. When you know better, you do better. And she's a mentoring others. Yes, you are. Blog post. When can we find it, or where can we find your blog post?
Oh, so my blog post will be on my website at yolandavo.com under my blog. Thanks for asking.
YolandaVO.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll capture that. Now let's go back to the last question. You've already provided so many nuggets, and we've got a few minutes left, and I really want to highlight a few more things.
Okay.
You've talked about leadership. You've talked about um, some of the, I help illuminate some of what's in your book around the principles of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
How do you move forward in your space of leadership? I want people to hear how you've done it. Uh, if you have a stepwise approach, or if you're kind of open to intuition, which is a higher mental tool that we can use, or if it's all of that and much more. How do you move forward in your space of leadership? And I know that you've already provided some nuggets, but if you can just, in a simplified way, share with us.
So, truthfully, the way I have done it is by first allowing myself to be more open. So, that is a conscious decision. We have to make a conscious decision that we are willing to hear from the outside. So, what I've done is I've hired a coach. I have a coach. I have I
Mm.
hire people to help me. And yep, it costs money. It costs money to get better. It costs money to grow. I mean, in order to do anything worthwhile, you're going to make an investment. And when you make an investment, you're going to reap dividends.
Mm.
So I have made an investment in my garden, which is myself. I have a lot of seeds planted in me, but I need those seeds to produce fruit. And I believe that we are all fruitful beings, and other people can benefit from that fruit, but we need to be cultivated properly. So I have hired help. I have a voiceover coach. He's fantastic. His name is Dave Walsh. I have a mentor. I have people in my life. Talisa Yancey, she's even in the book. She is my corporate mentor. She has helped me. She is now the president of American Family Insurance. She has helped me along my corporate journey, and she continually teaches me to educate myself, but to never stop dreaming, even no matter what role you get to, never become less than authentic, less than 100% of who you are. So if I was to give you some easy steps, I would say this: always be open, number one. Number two, I would say you need to write down exactly what it is you're thinking. And some people try to narrow down their thoughts. I do an exercise called mind mapping with people who I mentor. Whenever I mentor a person, we mind map. And when we mind map, we write down everything you love, everything. Just write down the stuff. I like to shop. I like to take walks. You write it all down. I like to coach businesses. I love numbers. I write it down. Then you write down your goals. You put it on another piece on another side of the paper. So you take the paper, fold it in half. One side is what you love, the other side are your goals. Now, on your goals, you're going to write down I want to be a real estate agent. I dream of being the best real estate agent in the world. I want to be, I don't know, whatever it is your desire is. I want to bake. I want to be a baker. I want to be a famous baker. Now, you take that paper, you open it up, so you see both halves. Then you look at the things you love versus your goals. And this is the exercise part where you connect the dots. The dots should automatically connect to those goals. If they don't, you need to erase some of them because they don't align with your passions. That was what I did first. I wrote it down. I connected the dots. Then I was able to get the help. Now I'm cultivating, I'm growing, and I'm beginning to produce the fruit. But it's all about acting. You gotta act. You can't just be inspired you can't be a mushroom and inspired in a corner. You have to be inspired, but you also have to do something about it. And that's like one of the main quotes I have at the very end of my book. And it says, dare to dream, but please also do. For dreamers are few, but doers are few. I am Yolanda Spearman. Thank you so much for having me today.
I love it. This has been awesome. And a couple things. And so Pam asked, Make Your Bed, who is it by? So the author of Make Your Bed?
It is William McRaven, Admiral William McRaven. Here it is.
Excellent.
Again.
And then Tomoko writes, yes, I agree. If you ever need to improve in different areas to advance in your life, you need to invest in your future. That also means hiring people and or services to help you get there. People who try to do everything by themselves will have a much more difficult time or take much longer to achieve their goals. On point. On
That is
point.
true. Yes.
Yeah. And another thing that you write in there, you said, you got what it takes, but it will take everything you've got. Thomas Aquinas.
Yes.
Aquinas, excuse me. And a Napoleon Hill quote, a goal is a dream with a deadline. A goal is a dream with a deadline. And another thing I liked, I didn't know it was Mark Twain who came up with this quote. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. And so, folks, the essence of what Yolanda has been talking about, that's so beautifully laid out in her book, her text, Relentless Execution, it's all about you finding out why. What's the why? And if you know the why, helping you actualize that dream, the why that you've responded to. And so with that smile on your face, look at her smile, leverage that energy. You take that thought about your vision for yourself, your life, your dream for your life, and take the pen and place it on paper. Get it out of your system and systematically use what Yolanda has shared. And use what you already know too. Don't discount you. You have a lot of insight and more than you probably are consciously aware of because you may be one of those on the treadmill. When we talked initially about this, Yolanda, you gave the metaphor of a skyscraper. I'd like to end this with that metaphor. And I'd like for you to tell us the power of remaining unwavering, not only in our faith, but our pursuit of whatever it is that's our vision, and how the metaphor of building a skyscraper is applicable. Can you do that for us?
I can, and I can do it really quickly. So really, the way that skyscraper got built is because it had deep roots. So you have to have deep roots, which means we all have to begin. We have absolute wonderful, humble beginnings, and we have a variety of stories that have taken us a lot of ways. But that just means that we have very deep roots. But you gotta have deep roots in order to build a really tall building, because without a fantastic foundation, your building is going to be really small. But I firmly believe that everyone listening was created to do great things. So that means you're going to have really deep roots.
I just love your spirit. I love you, and thank you for choosing to be authentic, to be you, to give the gift of you to the rest of us.
Thank you so much for having me. I totally appreciate it. To all of you all out there, thank you for listening.
Well, as I have Yolanda go back to the back of the studio, at this time, I just want to close by telling everyone thank you so much. My deepest gratitude, Wado. The fact that you show up and in your own way, in ways that many people may never know about or see, but the universe knows clearly, sees clearly, the Great Spirit, God, Tao, energetic forces know the power of you. And we want to remind you of your inherent gift to exceed even your highest expectation right now. So do the good that you know to do, be as authentic as you can find yourself to be. Definitely experience that passion so that the joy that really characterizes you at your core is illuminated. Look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday, noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and wherever else you're on the globe, we welcome you to join us. Thank you so much for all that you do. Be good, be well, be safe, be healthy.